Hey, brand builder, Rory Vaden here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this interview. As always, it's our honor to provide it to you for free. And wanted to let you know there's no big sales pitch or anything coming at the end. However, if you are someone who is looking to build and monetize your personal brand, we would love to talk to you and get to know you a little bit and hear about some of your dreams and visions and share with you a little bit about what we're up to see if we might be a fit. So if you're interested in a free strategy call with someone from our team, we would love to hear from you. You can do that at brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall, brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall. We hope to talk to you soon. I am honored today to introduce you to someone who's become a really close friend of mine over the last couple of years. We've now known each other for several years, which is wild to say. And surely if you're watching this, then you heard of Lewis Howes. He is the New York Times bestselling author of School of Greatness, the host of one of the top 50 podcasts in the world for iTunes on many weeks, usually almost always in the top 100. Recently crossed over 100 million downloads. Lewis has been featured on Ellen, Good Morning America, The Today Show, and it was not that long ago when Lewis was broke living on his sister's couch. And he, and something you should know is he almost never does interviews like this. He did this as a personal favor to me, and I really wanted you all to get to hear this, the true behind the scenes story of how Lewis got to be Lewis, because I know many of you, dream of having the kind of influence and reach that he has. So Lewis, welcome, brother. Thank you for making the time for us.
My man, I'm pumped to be here. The reason why I never do online summit interviews is because you had me go through on our coaching day, which I've done many with you on my own brand and personal brand. You had me create a list of yeses and nos of what brings me joy, what supports my business and brand, and what doesn't bring me joy, doesn't support my business brand. And online summits for me, because I got requested to do so many of them so many years, I did so many of them, they just always stressed me out. And they never brought any benefit to my brand or business. Once I crossed through a certain threshold of my brand, so this is always a no automatically. But so I had to make an exception on my yes/no list for you. So happy to be here, man.
Well, thank you, buddy. And there's a lot of surprising things about you. I think when people really get to know you, there's a lot of surprising things. And one of the things that always stuck out from me also as one of your students, not just your friend and not just an advisor to you at times, but as one of your students, was I remember hearing you speak one time and somebody asked you, I think it was in a Q&A, and they said, what's the most important thing about your personal brand? And I was like, oh, surely he's going to say networking or consistency or advertising. And you said photography.
Yeah.
And that freaking blew my mind. I had never thought about that. So I guess my question for you, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that still one of the things you would say is the top thing? But even if it's not, why did you say it at that time? Or what do you feel like is the role of photography has played in building your personal brand? Because that was something not on my radar at all.
Yeah, I'm just writing down the biggest things. Brand, big moments. So I would say photography is one. I'm thinking of 4 or 5 key things that I think about all the time. That's just off the top of my head. Photography is always one of the top. And here's the reason why. When you're in a store picking up groceries or at Whole Foods or CVS or wherever you're going to, there's always something you see right before you check out. And this row of magazines, right? There's always a row of magazines almost at every grocery store or place that you go to.
Yeah, for sure.
And the images on the cover of those magazines, whether it's GQ, Cosmo, or some other type of magazine like that for men and women, the more high-end type of magazines or more classy style magazines. The photography always makes the people on the cover elevated, right? Their brand is elevated based on the photography. It's not just any random photo of them on the
Mm.
cover of a magazine. It's always very intentional for the message they're trying to put out there, whether it's this beauty and elegance or this passion and allure. There's always something, or mystery. There's always something that defines the human being on the cover of the magazine, of these more well-known, classier style magazines.
Sure.
The same thing is true for the magazines that are the, gossip related magazines, where it's like the big belly of the person on the beach, or
Right.
someone that looks bad, or that's got a frumpy face. It's like we remember the images that we see the most, and they impact us emotionally, and we associate the images we see of other people on magazines or on social media or on their websites. It all kind of trickles down from there. We remember images at the highest level. We may not
Hmm.
be able to recall, like, I remember this magazine 7 years ago where so-and-so was on it. But the more you see the image of that person in that state, you think of them as that state. So for
Interesting.
me, photography is always something that I just kind of felt like I needed to dive into, probably like 7, 8 years ago, because I never had good photography. And I always see these other people that were more influential, celebrities, have these great photography. So I started investing in that probably 7 years ago. And it's something I do all the time. I'm really intentional about the photos that I post, and that are portrayed on my website and branding.
See, that's really, even that word that you used, state, is interesting. It's like a captured, it's not just an image of you. What I hear you saying is it's like it's a captured state, like a
Yeah,
state of being. Is
yeah,
that
it
what
is.
you're saying?
It's an energy that reflects to the other person, and you're either attracted to it or you're repelled to it by it, or you're neutral. Whatever state it is, you're putting that energy out in someone's mind that is then a snapshot that they have. And the
Like that's
more of
who you
those,
are.
yeah,
That's
the more of
feeling.
those, the more of those images they get of you that is empowering, inspirational, or wealthy, or attractive, or integrity, whatever it is, the branding you're trying to portray, the more they see of that of you, the more they just say, this person is that. I need to send people that way if they want to learn that thing. And yeah.
So let me ask you this I want to hear some of your others for sure, but so is there anything that you do during the photo shoot or in terms of the photographer you select? I mean, I know you use Nick Onken a lot because
Yeah.
he's amazing, and that's, one easier solution is to find someone amazing, invest the
Yeah.
money because it's worth it, and do it. But like, is there anything you do during the shoot to like?
I mean, it's taken me a long time to get comfortable in front of a camera. The first 3, 4 years, I would say I was very awkward. It's not like a natural thing for me to be like posing as a model or something, or know what looks good. I would always just kind of stand with my like hands in my pockets in the first few years, because I had no clue what I was doing. So I actually study. I should probably go take like classes, since I do more and more photography, on just postures and poses that look inspiring and masculine and, trustworthy, and all these
Well,
different
like your
things.
personality has really come through, like you jumping,
Yeah.
or you with your arms wide, or
Yeah.
like you're actually going after this phone call to Turkey for 4 days
Yes.
to do
Yes.
a photo
Just a
shoot.
photo shoot. Just going. I'm bringing a photographer. I'm bringing a videographer. Flying them to Turkey. I'm renting a helicopter. I'm renting a driver all day to take us to these spots. We've been planning it for 6 weeks. I have outfits from a stylist for the last 3 weeks. I've been doing fittings once a week.
And these are just photos for like social media and
Social
book covers or
media,
whatever.
book covers. I'm redesigning my website, so I want to have the most
Mm.
inspirational photos for my website. It's for my website redesign, but it's also like going to be for my Summit of Greatness program. It's going to be for social media for the next 6 months. It's going to be, I'll save some just for book covers. I mean, just for magazine covers, because magazines will ask to do interviews. And I'll say, I've got this image that I haven't used yet. It's freaking epic. Do you want to use this?
Mm.
So I'm trying to portray the image that I want, that press and media are going to use for me, as opposed to them taking photos of me. Here's the image I want you to use. I want you to be intentional about it. So the state that I'll think about is really, now, after many years of not being that good at it, is like passion and joy. I just think of passion and joy. Like, how can I be joyful? How can I be passionate? I'll do some like just GQ, like normal non-smiling photos as well, to try to mix it up. But it's really like, how can I bring the passion? How can I bring the joy? and just have fun. So I just try to play music. I try to just like crack jokes so I'm not nervous or thinking too much about how I look, because I don't want it to be me obsessing over the way I look and making sure like everything is perfect to my face. Yes, I want to look good, but I want to be organic and I want to flow and I want to have fun, because when we have fun, people can feel that. When it's forced, people feel that. So I really just try to like shake it out a lot, just have fun, just like dance, move, and didn't.
And so this is less of like, oh, I want to post a bunch of pictures of me and my selfies on Instagram because of how cool I am. And it's more of, I'm trying to portray an energy and a lifestyle and a state of being that is how I want other people to feel. I'm just trying to portray that.
Yeah. What's the energy you want people to feel?
Love that.
And feel attracted to? Without photography, how's someone going to know who you are? They're going to make up their own image. So you might think of someone like some famous author. I'm trying to think of like a fiction writer that I don't even know who they look like, but some big fiction writer. What's like Stephen King?
Like Stephen King. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what Stephen King even looks like.
I don't know what this guy looks like. So his personal brand is like, okay, I don't know, maybe like a professor looking, or maybe some wild, crazy artist or something. But yeah, unless we know an image of who it is, we make up our own image. And so I would rather just dictate the images I want people to think about of me and make them positive.
Okay. So other than photography, what else do you have? Like, and just so y'all that you are watching, we did not script this at all, which is, I did not want it. I wanted to hear like Lewis, unprepared, random, like when you think of taking your brand to the next level, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wrote down 5 quick things. Photography is number 1. I got one more, 6. The second thing is branding and design. So design for me is huge, and I'm very intentional about it, to where I kind of obsess over a little more, because I think you can really study the science of design of what, and it's just another layer of making you feel something. So what are the colors that make you feel the thing you want them to feel as well, based on the photography you have? The colors, the style of the layouts, all those things, how the images are placed, where the font is out on your website, all these different things, the graphics, is it updated looking? Is it 1990s or 1980s looking? Like, you want to make sure you're forward thinking and innovative with your design and branding, or at least just a clean aesthetic. Like medium.com is minimalist, but it's so minimal that it's like, okay, I appreciate the design intentionality of a minimal site as well. So I'm not saying you need to have all these flashy colors and swoosh marks on your website or in your graphics when you're posting something out there, but being intentional about what your design says about you, your message, and your personal brand. So,
how do you, so on that one, so for somebody, how do you know what is good design and what isn't? Like, I think a lot of people are going, okay, I need to get a website, and I know you can spend 50 grand on a website. You can spend $50 on a website. And right. I've seen people spend 20 grand and it looks like crap. And I've seen people spend 5 grand and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of it is knowing, and a lot of us don't know. Like, I think a lot of us underestimate the importance of this, but then even when we do, it's like, but I don't know what to look for. Or is there something that you?
Yeah, for me, it's a feeling. It all comes back to a feeling for me. I'm not a designer. I've not been trained in this or studied this. I know what looks good and feels good for me based on other designs from brands, sites, personalities that I like. And then I'll just reflect on, why do I like this? Why does it feel good? And I'll talk to a designer and say, here are 3 different sites or 3 different products that I like that have amazing branding. I don't know why I like it, but I like it. Can you help me reflect on this? What is it about this? I don't know. The colors make me feel a certain way.
When you do that, is it like, because other people do that too, and they're always like, okay, it's Tesla and Virgin and Nike, right? Like, everyone goes, make me that. Is it those same ones for you, or is it like you go, no, there's different ones that I have found that
I try to look at music, fashion, and sports brands and bring that into my brand. So I don't try to look within the industry and copy, Gary Vaynerchuk or copy, I don't know, Richard Brandt, whatever it is, some other person in my space, Tim Ferriss. I try to look at other influences in sports, fashion, and music that I think are innovative, that are that bring out an energy, because these are a lot of like these create feelings for people. Fashion, music, sports, they're like this, it's like a religion for people. And so
Right.
what's the feeling that these create that make me feel so connected to a community or a tribe or a message or a mission that I want to create in my business as well, in my personal brand, so that people feel like they're a part of a mission that they want to support. So I'm just trying to find things, like I'm doing like for the branding for my event. I really like this campaign more than an athlete, like LeBron James had with
This
Nike.
is the summit. You're talking about the Summit
Yeah.
of Greatness for those people that don't know.
Yeah.
You do once a year.
Yeah, Summit of Greatness. And so I'm like focusing on rebranding. Every year we kind of update the design. And so I was doing an hour-long call with my designer, and I was like, I really like this more than an athlete energy and feeling of the branding of this like one campaign that LeBron James did. And I really like just like the innovation of like Air Jordan, all these new shoes that Air Jordan has been doing. I was like, here are like 3 different shoes that I really like. I don't know why I like it, but they just make me feel like fresh and innovative and clean. And Air Jordan is just like this timeless brand that's been around for 20 or 30 years. It just continues to grow. And, you know, I was like, I really like what J Balvin is doing. He's in the Latin pop world, reggaeton. Like he's always innovating and pushing the boundaries on his fashion. And I was just like something around these 3 things. What can we do?
And so you don't even know what it is. You just say these. There's an energy about these things, and you just say do something with that. Like make me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a designer, so I'm working with the designers, and I'm trying to be the creative director with that person to be like, okay.
Right. But you do all that.
Yeah, I just
don't have a creative. You don't have a creative director. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I just don't know how to execute it personally. So.
Okay, what else is on your?
Yeah.
What else on your list? Because I want to make sure we at least hear them.
So I put big moments. I feel like big moments define your personal brand. So when I decided to launch a book, I did like 1.5 years of research on how to be a New York Times bestseller, because I was like, this is a big moment opportunity, and it could define a whole leveling up for my brand if I reach the New York Times bestseller list. Now,
that's how you and I met. That's how you and I met. I was on your podcast right after my first book hit New York Times, and we chatted after, and I was like, well, I'll tell you everything I know. And that, I feel like, is when you and I really bonded the first time.
That's it. Yeah. That was like when was that? I don't know.
Like 2014 or 13. Yeah, a while ago.
So I think big moment opportunities. Every year I try to do at least one big moment that is like, boom, here's a big announcement. Here's a big thing. People do this with like a big merger, or they'll buy a company and it's like a big boom. We just bought this company. Boom. We just sold this. It elevates your personal brand and your kind of energy and image in the world. So I did that with my first book. I feel like I did that with my second book, Masking Masculinity. I did that with a live event when everyone was getting away from events. I was like, I want to innovate this space with events. I did that with the first talk show on Facebook Watch last year.
Watch, yeah.
Also, the first talk show was like a big moment for a number of months. I just filmed my first documentary. It's not out yet, but I feel like that'll be a big moment to be like, whoa, okay, he's doing a movie now. Like, I have to pay attention. I have to at least.
It's freaking awesome too. It's free. I got to see it. It is freaking awesome. It's so inspiring.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Yeah. So I feel like it's investing in big moment opportunities that differentiate you from everyone else. As you know, our friend Sally Hogshead said, different is better than better. And so I just think of what's going to be different for me this year than last year, and what's going to be different from everyone else in my kind of space. So big moments, you know, my book, my event, my talk show, my documentary, it's just like, okay, what are the things that we can do? Big moment opportunities. If you could do one every year, I think that'd be powerful for your personal brand to level it up. The press. So it would be the next thing. This would be the fourth thing. Is be press. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So when you have big moment opportunities, leveraging the press to get that. So my book, I got on, Today's Show,
Good Morning
GMA,
America, and
Good
yeah.
Morning, LN, all these things. You use these big moments to then leverage it with press, mainstream press, to support more attention and attraction to your personal brand. So press would be number 4. I would say the 5th one would probably be number 3, your messaging. That would probably go photography, branding, design, and messaging, kind of in the first 3. But the communication and how you communicate, whether you're audio, video, or written word, how are you communicating your message? What is the energy you're going to share with your words, no matter what format they're in? So your messaging is important. And I think being intentional about your messaging. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the 6th thing, would be your association with other people. I think who you're associated with elevates your brand or brings it back. So, I've been for example, I've been in the internet marketing space for many years, but one of the reasons I said no to online marketing summits is because they're all kind of like these internet marketing type of events typically. And I just said, I don't want to be associated as an internet marketer anymore. I want to be associated more as a mainstream individual that can attract mainstream press and opportunities. And every time you do something that is with your past identity, you stay in a past identity more, or it's harder to grow into the next identity. And so I'm always trying to associate with people that are out of my reach at the time. That's why I have a podcast where I interview people, and I have a wall of people that I've associated with who of all these people that come on my show. And each person is a representation of my brand as well. So when I have someone on who's maybe not credible or in a space that isn't positive or who's controversial, it also reflects to my personnel brand as well. Like I've had certain just individuals who are very controversial. People hate them or love them. And then I get a lot of flack for that, and it hurts my personal brand at times if I did too much of that. People would be like, oh, Lewis just associates with all these people who are controversial, so he's controversial. But if I'm associating with billionaires and world-class athletes and leaders in the world, then it makes me more in association with that community. So who you're associated with. Yep.
I would say, I believe this is one of your superpowers. Like truly, photography, you don't take the pictures. Design, you don't do it. Messaging, I feel like, is one of the things you come to us, like at Brand Builders Group. That's one of the things. Big moments, you do a great job of. I think press, you do a great job of. But if I had to, as like one of your pals, go, what is one of Lewis's superpowers? It is networking, and it is building meaningful relationships quickly with a lot of people, and then connecting people, and then always like you said, getting in touch with people that are out of your reach.
Yeah.
Let me ask you an honest question about that, because you've heard the phrase social climber.
Yeah.
Right? So people will say that oh, well, that, she's a social climber, he's just a social climber, and oh, well, you're too good to talk to so-and-so. Mm-hmm. How do you reconcile either a fear of that, or do you not even put any value in that? Or have you ever
Yeah, I think I've thought about it from time to time, because sometimes I'll be like, am I just going to this event to meet someone that could help me in the future? You know what I mean? It's crossed my mind momentarily a few moments in the last 10 years, but it's not something I think about too often, because all I do is add value to people. All I do is I never ask for anything, and I just say, how can I support and how can I promote what you care about the most? So if I was always meeting someone and saying, hey, by the way, can you invest in this? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, I want to pitch you something. I hate when people do that to me, so I never do that to other people, especially when people who are very influential are busy and have a lot going on. I just feel like it's the wrong way to build a relationship. I would rather.
But so that's part of the difference. Is a social climber is someone who's trying to climb their way to the top so that they can take things from people, versus someone who's just giving to everybody.
I think you make a big impact. You make a big you stand out when you just add a lot of value and you never ask for anything and you just try to be a good person. And that's all I've tried to do for the last 10 years is meet people, find how I can add as much value to their life as quickly as possible and not ask for anything until there's a big moment. Like once a year, I might have a big thing that I might ask some of them to support with, if it makes sense, because I know it's in their kind of realm, but not everyone. I'm not asking people for stuff all the time. So it's just trying to build quality relationships with quality people and helping people, because I know it'll come back around eventually somehow.
Yeah.
And it feels good to help people. I get validated when I help someone or solve a big problem who's got a lot of influence. It's like, okay, yeah, it feels good as well.
Other
So it's
thing
not
that
like,
I would share, just for people that don't know, is even though I do think you have a superpower of like meeting new people that are, at like a higher cachet or profile or whatever you want to say, in real life, when you meet, you're one of the most approachable people in real life. Like it's never, oh, he's not good enough or she's not worth my time. Like you're always like dishing out hugs and loving on people.
yeah.
And I've never gotten that sense at all about
Yeah.
watching you with other people.
Yeah. I think, it's because I remember being a nobody 10 years ago that no one knew who I was. I was broke, and there were people that were willing to give me 10, 20 minutes from time to time just to be able to ask questions to or supported me in different ways. And I think I brought value to them through bringing passion and curiosity and taking action on whatever they said quickly, so they saw that I was getting results and it was good for them as well. So I didn't feel like I wasted people's time. I was like committed to getting results and adding value even then. And I go back and forth because I take a lot of meetings sometimes. And I feel like sometimes I'm just wasting so much time just meeting people. So it's part of the superpower, I guess, but also it kind of holds me back when I'll have 6 meetings in a day and I'm like, okay, I still have to start work at 7 p.m. because I haven't done anything today and the work needs to be done. So it's a constant battle of managing the energy of meeting people and making sure that when I'm with someone in present, I give them the time, but I don't overcommit on time later. So if I'm around someone in person, I will give them the moment. I will be present. I will, be affectionate, loving, whatever it may be. But if they're like, oh, can you come on and do my podcast that I haven't launched yet and I have 0 following, I have to decline just to like save myself energy. Otherwise, if I said yes to everyone, I would be suffocating as well.
I know that's just a struggle for everybody. Like, and it's hard to, as you develop more notoriety, you can't help but, some people are going to say certain things, but it's like, you can't take them all. So anyways, I have one last question for you. Before I do that, is there anywhere, where do you want people to go to connect with you and follow up and like, tune in to?
LewisHowes.com or School of Greatness podcast.
Check it out. And be on tune. He's got big moments coming. The documentary is one I know that's coming at some point here soon. Last thing for you, Lewis, I think it's been inspiring to watch how quickly you have risen through the ranks of all of these different things. And then, I remember when you got on Ellen, that like, I've been kind of with you for some of these big moments and just like hitting the New York Times list that first time. And then I remember the shot of you in Times Square when your second book was up.
Crazy.
And then being on Ellen and then getting the Facebook Watch show. And if there's one thing that you wish you could have known when you first started, and if you could tell yourself, like, go back and you say, if I wish I would have known this, it would have helped me get there faster. When you very first started out, or if there's just one thing that you feel like you did latch onto that you feel like this really has made all the difference, what do you think that would be?
I think building a team faster, having the right people on my team to support me with things that were taking up too much time so that I could do the things that I did best early on in my career. That would have been, probably more beneficial because I just spent a lot of time and energy doing everything as opposed to focusing on a few key things that I should be doing. So learning to say no to things that I don't need to do and hiring the people to do those things earlier would have been key, I think.
Yeah. Well, I love it, buddy. I appreciate so much that hopefully people see the intention of the energy and the emotion that you're trying to create and put out there in the world through photography, design, messaging, moments, the press, your association. It's all about inspiring people and helping them feel this energy, which is everything that is Lewis House. So
people don't, what is the quote? People don't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Maya Angelou. That's right.
What she said.
That's right. Well, thanks, buddy. You keep inspiring, and we'll keep following. We appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.